time has come, everyone. Dystopia is upon us. Megadeth are back with a vengeance with their brand new studio album entitled, you guessed it, Dystopia, that releases tomorrow. And let me tell you, Megadeth are back with a vengeance. After Super Collider and 13, I really didn't think that they could release something this ferocious and this tight-knit without maybe losing a couple members, which admittedly they did, but a lot of people were also worried about the future of the band because, as we all know, Megadeth is Dave Mustaine's baby and he likes to keep it close to him, practically strangling the life out of it for the last two albums, but this one is actually somewhat of a triumphant return for the band. I mean, I was really surprised listening to this. I mean, even after the first single, Fatal Illusion, I was still in the back of my head trying to come up with some way that this album would suck so that I wouldn't get too disappointed by it. I thought, oh, you know, they're just copying Good Morning Black Friday. I heard The Threat Is Real, and I'm like, the intro is kind of odd, but the song is okay. But then I heard the third studio single, and that was the title track, Dystopia. Now, this one combines such similar riffs from Hangar 18 with a new fresh feel to kind of combine together to form a song that is fresh yet familiar. It's structured much in the same way as some of the older songs, but the familiarity aspect ends there, and there's a whole brand new, fresh appeal to it as well. Overall, in this album, Dave Mustaine actually has a lot of vocal effects on his vocals to give it that System-like appeal. The System has failed, but not to the point where it's drowning in them like they were on that album. I think it's a fine balance. And getting into that, the thing that really catches my ear on this album are the guitars. Holy God, these guitars sound great. The production is so tight. There's the perfect amount of bass with a perfect amount of treble, and it just sounds phenomenal together. Just how they do it. The guitars really have a bite while packing a huge punch at the same time. It just sounds great. Structurally, the album is all there. They decided to go for a more straightforward route with the exception of the three singles, which kind of harken back to the days of, say, Killing Is My Business, combined with some of their midlife stuff as well. Kind of, to me, it sounds like a combined mix of a little bit of Rust in Peace, a little bit of Killing, and a little bit of Endgame for that modern twist. And definitely the album benefits significantly from that. So my favorite songs overall, probably going to be Bullet to the Brain, Post-American World, as well as The Emperor was really good, Foreign Policy was good, and Dystopia, the title track. You know, of course I like Fatal Illusion, of course I like The Threat Is Real, but like I said, if I were to choose singles, I would probably choose something like Poisonous Shadows, where it has that diverse guitar effects in it. I mean, the diversity in the guitar riffs in this album is just phenomenal. So, he definitely chose a very good guitar player for this, and definitely chose a great fit. So, overall, with this album, it's a great start for a new Megadeth era, and I think it's a great start for the band moving forward. I mean, Sean Drover and Chris Broderick, I don't think were the problem with Megadeth and the way that they went, the direction that they took in between 2010 and, say, 2014, in between there, 2015, whatever. And I really was not expecting such a triumphant return. But back to the topic at hand, I really don't think that it was their fault, as Dave kind of, like I said, you know, strangles and chokes the life out of his baby, Megadeth, and until it basically resembles something that he wants it to resemble, which, in this case, wasn't necessarily good for the fans. Maybe it was good for him, but every time an article with Super Collider came out, it was basically Dave white knighting his own creation, which seemed very sad. And this is a definite contradictory to Super Collider with this album, Dystopia, as well as a little bit of 13, because this album, they took such care in taking the best riffs and the best structured points and combining them together in a way that seemed like it would fit. In Super Collider, I noticed, like I said in my review of it back in 2013, it seemed like they went into a route where they just kind of wanted to take the best riffs they could and just mash them together, throw some solos over the top of it, and there you go. Cash grab, lazy effort. they were hoping that people would buy it. Well, no, they didn't. Now, people are actually probably going to really dig this up and eat it like ice cream. I mean, it's honestly probably their best album since Endgame. I really don't think that, that's really much of an accomplishment, mind you, but I'm really kind of holding it up there with Endgame. I don't know which one I like better right now, Dystopia or Endgame. It's just such a great album. I highly recommend you check it out. All the songs are great on it. The only weak point, I would say, would be Fatal Illusion trying too hard to match the sound of Good Morning Black Friday. I think that's really the only criticism that I can give for this album, because everything else is just spot on. And maybe the familiarity with Dystopia, but it is one of my favorite songs on the album. And it combines that familiarity with a sense of new, I guess, basically, with that. So, really good album, phenomenal, check it out, and the two members that left really, it didn't harm or phase the band that much. Chris Adler and whoever the other member was, Kiko something, I can't really pronounce his last name, definitely added a sense of freshness to a band that was already beginning to sound very stale. I'll admit that I wasn't really that excited for this album, but after hearing it in its entirety, boy was I wrong about it. This is probably a very, very good start for the year 2016. And hopefully I'll be back next time with Anthrax's For All Kings. I know it leaked already, I've heard it. It's a phenomenal album, but I'm not going to be actually covering it until it's, a couple days maybe from release. So, with that, thank you very much for watching. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Buy this album. I'm going to rate it probably a 9 out of 10. It's a great album. Dystopia, Megadeth. Keep calm and rock on.